Hello everyone and welcome back to EVE Market, your weekly look at the amarr market. Sorry for missing the last video of last week. I did record it, then I'm gonna swap the drives to my render PC and went to look up the video and it was like, nope, no video. I was like, maybe I will record on a different drive, so I looked on the other drive, no video. I could not find my video. It was just completely disappeared. I did record it, everything. I even did a search for the video at none of my drives. It was I could find my video, so it was completely gone. So that's why we had last week no video. Hopefully everything goes alright today. But I can see it is recording. I did it also last week, but I don't know why it didn't show up on my hard drives. So the data I have is from last week. So we're just gonna start straight off with titanium. We are this week for a change outside the station. We've been doing so much inside, so we decided to do outside the station. So titanium, it's in a bit of the big chart. So the 3 months that go to 1 month. Titanium is still going up in price. Not too quick, but it's sitting definitely above the 6 is per unit again. Early this week, I think more in the middle of the week, it dropped just below it. After that it went straight back up again to 6, above the 6, and staying above the 6 for Friday, Saturday, and for today we're still also slightly above the 6 is per unit. Apparently there's still a little bit of a shortage for titanium, but then again we still have these things, the citadels coming, so maybe still people are trying to buy minerals in for the citadels. Seller's price 5.95, just below the 6x per unit. Buyer's price 5.83, slightly lower than last week's. 5.86 was last week's price, so it's only a slight drop in that price, but not a huge amount. Then if we look at ferrite, ferrite is still pretty stable, even there was here, looks like about last week, a huge spike on sales on ferrite. It didn't have any effect on the price, it more likely dropped slightly even, so it was not too big of a deal here. But then again, for the last 3 days it's starting to go up in price, without any strange things on the sales. So ferrite at the moment is going slightly up, but it's doing regular, a little bit ups and then dropping back again. So I'm guessing this is just another small up for the price for ferrite, and then it's just gonna drop again. That's what I think it will be. Seller's price 11.88, buyer's price 11.29. That's lower than last week's 11.47. was last week's price, so it has dropped a little bit in the price for ferrite. But this, then again, like I said, I expect this is just going to be a small up in the price, and then it's going to drop again, just like we see here, a small up in price and then it drops again. And that's what it's doing here too. Then we have Maxilon. Maxilon had in the beginning of the week a pretty big uptrend in price. For 3-4 days it was suddenly going up in price. That after a pretty long time drop in price, we hit even a 60 ISK last week or even lower. We had here an up in price. After that it started to drop below the 60 again. Then it went Friday above the 60 again, Saturday on the 60, today also on the 60. Line is starting to flat out for Maxilon after this huge spike here and then dropping in price. It looks like we may starting to stabilize around the 60 ISK per unit again for Maxilon. What is a pretty normal price for Maxilon. So yeah, stabilizing around the 60 ISK per unit. This one, someone really want to get rid of it. 58.47 for the seller's price. It's only 3.5 million units, just more of it, and then go very quickly towards the 60.9059. So it's going pretty quick up. I think this one just sold more than someone was buying it. And for the buyer's price, saying 58.45. That is lower than last week's. 58.71 was last week's price, so we have a small drop in here too. Then the next one is oxygen. Oxygen is also pretty stable. It went very slightly up, it has ups and downs, but on the 20-day average it's very stable. 5-day average was sitting a little bit higher the whole week, just above the 110. More at the end of this week it's starting to drop below the 110 even. Here there was one spike, but for the rest of it below the 110, so we may see even a little bit of a drop in the price of oxygen, even more. And it is already pretty low. Low, no, it's pretty normal price, but it seems we're gonna get a small drop maybe in the price of oxygen. $105.69 for the seller's price and 105.63 for the buyers. Very low margin, like more like no margin for the oxygen price. Last week's price was even higher, that was 108.18. So also oxygen is dropping in price again. It's all the minerals are dropping. So apparently there's a good supply. A good supply coming towards the market for oxygen. But if I look at it, it's pretty balanced in it. It can pretty quickly drop if it happens, if there's an even bigger amount getting sold on the market. Then looks at oxygen. Oxygen is still going up in price. After the big drop we had here, dropping towards just above the 450, now it keeps going up and we're hitting the 500 again. Even we're starting to now then get above the 500. So oxygen really going up in price. 520, everything is going up. I'm happy I bought a whole load of it at 460. I bought like 10 million units, I think. So still going up in price for oxygen. I think this will keep on going for a while then. 504.98 for the sellers and 492.01 for the buyers. Of course that's going to be higher than last week. That was 474.91 per unit, so definitely went up. And I expect this one to keep on going for a while. It was already going up so rapidly. It came from a pretty high price. It came from 500. Well, we maybe hit its peak then, because it came from 500. Unless it's going to get a huge peak on price, we're going to 540, but that is also a chance. It has been even here at 600 like 7-8 months ago. 660, 670. I don't expect it to reach that, but I don't see it stabilizing here yet. I do see the 5-day average is stabilizing a bit more, so it probably hit its peak on the price for an oxygen. We may see it dropping pretty soon. Then we're going to take a look at Zynuit. I'll take a shorter graph again, I guess, set for the 3 months. Zynuit is dropping in price. It dropped below. It was normal sitting around 1100, but this is a pretty normal price for Zynuit, I must say. But it's starting to drop to 1050 or even at 1,000, even below 1,000. So it's apparently a pretty decent supply of Zynoid going towards the market suddenly, and starting to push the price down. You can clearly see 5-day and even the 20-day average is already dropping on price. That's really surprising. I expected more like Zynoid would always stay around 1100, because it was pretty stable for a while, and now it suddenly decides, yeah, we're gonna drop. Apparently these two had influence on it, because these two are pretty big sales for it, and after that the price starts dropping. And then there were another two little bit bigger sales here, what's pushing the price even more down, looks like it. So Zynoid is on the drop, was a decent amount of sales. Seller's price 1,049, and for the buyers is already below the 1,000 per unit, 995.59. Of course that's a lot lower than last week's. That was 1,049 already. That was seller's price even, and that's now last week's was the buyer's price, is now the seller's price. And the buyer's price totally dropped even more, so Zynoid is dropping on price. It's gonna do a lot more, I'm not sure about it. Megasite is wow, is really bouncing around a lot between buyers and sellers. It's really huge changes between almost 1400, 1380, and between 1240. Huge changes, but also rapidly moving price of the 5-day average, really going up towards almost yeah, like 1,390, and then suddenly dropping towards like 1,310 or even lower. Here we hit almost 1,220. It's really unstable Megasite suddenly. On average, on 20-day average, we are dropping in price for Megasite. But it's, yeah, of course, nice to see it's dropping, but still. A lot of these null-sync minerals are apparently suddenly dropping, and probably expect Morphite to do it the same. It looks like people have dropped stuff on the market. Seller's price 1,280, buyer's price 1,221.12. Clearly lower than last week. 1,260.76 was last week's price, so clearly a drop in price for that. So I expect for the last mineral Morphite doing the same, but it's not. It's even going up in price. Yeah, it did have a drop last week suddenly. So Morphite was a little bit early of a drop. You can see here. That was not even last week, that was before that even. It pushed this price down a lot, towards even 10,200 below it. That pushed the price a lot down, 5-day and 20-day, but now, this week we're sitting a lot higher, pretty much more on a normal price for Morphite. Here, the Sunday we're sitting even a little bit higher, but that's alright. So Morphite is pretty quickly going up in price, but towards a normal price. 20-day average going with it now, starting to climb up a bit towards a more of a normal point for this. Prices for Morphite 11,836.53 for the sellers. For the buyers, sitting just above the 11,000, 11,007.25. A lot lower than last week's. 11,410.58 was last week's price, so that's clearly dropped a lot on his price. Then let's take a look quick on salvage. I know this one was starting to drop a bit. Armor plates is a little bit dropping in price, but it's already starting to recover here for the last 3 days. It dropped to about 92,000 per unit. And now starting to recover again. So it's not really doing too much. Apparently there's some bigger sales on the day, including some of mine. maybe push the price down, but the price was already going down before I sold some. But I regret it now because this price is starting to go up again. More than 500 units is going to be a little bit lower. 97,577.86 for the sellers. For the buyers, we're saying 93,950 flat even. Slightly lower than last week, only 40 lower. 93,540 was last week's price, so not really a big change on this price. Then Burn Logic Circuit had last week a new record price for this year. Also, Burn Logic Circuits is still going up and pretty much has a new record on price. I'm really surprised about it. This one just keeps going up. While I was afraid of passing by on the camera. It's really going up a lot and pushing up more and more. We're hitting the 60 ISK per unit. We're going even higher for today. And doesn't seem to be getting an end to this pretty soon. 61,998.87 for the sellers. It's a pretty decent amount, but still the buys are a lot higher. The supply is still short on it for this. Where for the buyers, we're sitting at 59,310, slightly above it. So we're still higher than last week's price. We almost went up 1,000, almost. Last week's price was 58,503. So clearly we went up in price again, and this is definitely again a new record price for Burn Logic Circuits. I wonder when this is gonna stop. It doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon, but it's going up such a long time already. Look at the graph. I mean, it's 3 months ago it started to go up, then we had another drop and it went up. On average, you can still almost pull a straight line from going up. If you look at the 6 months, yeah, it's going up for almost a half a year. Alright, let's look at fried interface circuits. Fried interface circuits are pretty stable. I had a little bit of a drop here, but that was not off last week. Pretty stable here for like 1.5 weeks. It's been stable at the same price for 5,000. Then here for the last 3 days we're suddenly starting to go up in price. Heading towards the 5,400 per unit. Suddenly, so pretty much suddenly maybe a shortage on supply for fried interface circuits. I wouldn't say so. There's more like a huge supply of fried interface circuits. There's 23,000 units here. Another 10,000, another 5,000, 2,000. That is a huge amount of fried interface circuits. That's a really big amount. So yeah, I say there's clearly a bigger supply than demand for fried interface circuits. And still, the price is getting pushed up surprisingly. So maybe some orders getting here fulfilled, but it's pushing the price up. So clearly 5,933.47 for the seller's price. For the buyers, we're seeing 5,400 flat. That is higher than last week, because that was 5,003 for it. So that went up in price. Melted capacitor consoles has made a drop in price. It already made that last week, and the video didn't came out of mine. We dropped below the 6,500 suddenly. We came from 7,500 suddenly dropping below the 6,500. Also here for the last 3 days we started to get up to 6,500, a bit higher. But before that, that was Wednesday and Thursday, we're seeing almost at the 7,500 per unit again for melted capacitor consoles. So basically it went up from 6,250 towards almost 7,500 and dropped again to 6,500 with a slightly higher price for today. It looks like for some reason the sales for melted capacitor consoles almost is disappearing from the amarr market. because there's so little buyers here. It looks like suddenly everybody's buying maybe in Jita or something. More than 500 units, 7,500 per unit for the sellers. For the buyers, 6,600. That is higher than last week's price. Last week, 6,250. So it went a little bit up in price. Trade power circuits are not dropping really anymore. They hit last week pretty low price, pretty much the lowest price I think. Then we stayed a little bit above the 27,000 per unit. We're going slightly up here towards 28,000 unit on the Friday, and then we drop back towards the 27,000 unit, and even for today slightly below it, and that's not too bad. It's yeah, a little bit lower than normal price, but it's very low really for the price. Not as low as it's been early this year, but still it's not the lowest, but also not the highest. So I really have no idea what's gonna do in the rest of the week. And on that, more than 500 units, 29,248 for the sellers. For the buyers, 26,606. Clearly lower than last week's, because that was 27,250. So it has dropped in price pretty a lot. Decent drop in price. I really have no idea. It's maybe even dropping more, but we have a little bit of a spike here for 2-3 days, went a little bit high, then it dropped again. Maybe a chance it's going up next week, but it can also go down. No idea what it's gonna do. Quick look at Plex. Plex is really making a huge move this week here. Saturday, Friday, Thursday, yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday where we're sitting really high on Plex, hitting 1,270,000,000 for a Plex price, and then it dropped towards 1,250,000,000. And then suddenly between one and the other day we really dropped to about 1,180,000,000 suddenly. That's like an 60-70 million drop suddenly in a day time. And the day after that we dropped even to 1,160,000,000. So you can also see there's a spike in the sales at the moment the price dropped. So I don't know if there's anything. I don't think there was a Plex sales started it. Let's look at quickly at the browser. I don't think there's a Plex sales. There was a Black Friday sales. I don't know if there was Plex involved in that really. Yes, Plex was involved in that. So it looks like a lot of people bought like 6 Plexes for that price. So that is definitely had the influence on the price for Plex. Well, it's starting on the Friday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. Does this sale started on Thursday then? Because the Plex price dropped on the Thursday, and the Black Friday sales was here, and this is even going the price up after that. That's a good question, really. There was a Plex sales, but the price dropped before the Plex sales. That was on Black Friday, and this one right here is from Thursday. This is the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So not really sure what happened here. The price started dropping before the sales, so not really sure what happened there. Seller's price 1,193,800,000 for the sellers. For the buyers 1,165,000,000 because of this drop, it is of course lower. Last week's price was 1,203,502,000. So clearly we have dropped in price for Plex. No, it's not from the. There's something from the sales that it dropped for sure. But this sales that happened started on this day, right here, and not on this one. So maybe CCP influenced some of it. I'm not sure. Because the sales should be starting on Friday, Black Friday. Alright. I don't know, maybe you know something, but the price is going up. I expected more like not to happen because of the sales, but alright. Well, this was this week's look at the amarr market, and we'll see you all next week again. Take a look at the market. Yes, I'm sitting outside there. I'm sitting far away from the station. It's gonna be a lot easier to do this sitting outside the station when the new camera is coming out on CC. I think I'm about doing videos from the test servers, from the mass test, but I cannot always do that. That's not possible. There were 2 mass tests last week. This week's mass test I cannot join up because I have late shift. The week after that I may can join the mass test. Which time that exactly gonna happen? A little bit. So thanks for watching. We'll see you all next week again for the amarr market. Fly safe.